I hadn't spoken to my mother in years after she took out loans in my name. Then I got a call. She was in the hospital and needed help. I showed up and found her filling out life insurance beneficiary forms with my sister's name. "You've always been the selfish one," she whispered. I stayed quiet, walked out, and made one final call to her bank. She didn't expect what came next. I'm not even sure why I picked up the phone that day. It was a Thursday, around 3:30 p.m. I was at work, sitting at my desk in a small insurance office in Modesto. My phone buzzed with a number I didn't recognize. I almost ignored it, but something told me to answer. "Is this Daniel M?" the woman asked. She sounded calm, but kind of urgent. "Yes. This is Linda from Mercy General Hospital in Sacramento. Your mother, Arlene, has been admitted with congestive heart failure. You're listed as her emergency contact." I didn't respond right away. I hadn't spoken to my mother in almost 9 years. I just stared at the wall. The words, "your mother," didn't even feel like they belonged to me anymore. I thought it might be some mistake. But it wasn't. I said, "Okay," and hung up. I didn't promise anything. For the next hour, I just sat there, thinking. And here's what I was thinking. My mother used my name and social security number to open multiple private student loans when I was in college. She forged the paperwork, signed my name, and took out almost $20,000 in loans for a degree I wasn't even enrolled in. She used the money to cover credit cards, casino trips, and later I learned, part of Jenna's wedding. I found out when I got a letter from a collection agency saying I was months past due on a loan I didn't even know existed. When I confronted her, she didn't deny it. She didn't cry, didn't apologize. She just looked at me and said, "I needed it. You're young. You'll be fine." That was the last straw. I reported the fraud, went through months of hell clearing my credit, had to switch banks, and spent years trying to rebuild. I didn't talk to her after that. I didn't see her at holidays. She wasn't at my wedding. She didn't call when I got divorced. We were done. Until this call. And I don't know why, but I got in my car and drove the 2 hours to Sacramento. Maybe I wanted her to look at me and finally be sorry. Maybe I wanted her to explain herself, to make it make sense. Or maybe I just needed to see for myself what the end of her life looked like. I didn't even tell my boss I was leaving. When I got to the hospital, they set me up to the 5th floor. Cardiology. I walked into her room and stopped cold. She was sitting up in the bed, thin and pale, wearing one of those hospital gowns. Her hair was completely gray now, but she didn't look surprised to see me. She looked annoyed. Next to her was Jenna, my older sister. I hadn't spoken to her in nearly as long. She cut me off after I reported Mom. Said I humiliated the family. Said I should have kept it quiet. That family doesn't go to the cops on each other. Jenna glanced at me, then looked back at the clipboard she was holding. "Look who showed up," she muttered. My mother barely looked at me. She just reached out and handed Jenna the clipboard. "Finish filling this out," she said. Then to me, "Since you're here, you can witness it." I glanced down at the form. It was a life insurance beneficiary form. Primary beneficiary, Jenna L. Matthews. Relationship, daughter. My name was nowhere on it. I didn't say anything. I didn't react. I just watched them. Jenna didn't even make eye contact. Then my mother leaned toward me, her voice low, weak, but clear. "You've always been the selfish one," she whispered. That was it. That was the moment. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I turned, walked out of the room, went down the elevator, and stood in the parking lot staring at the cloudy sky. And then I remembered something. 9 years ago, before all of this blew up, I helped my mom open a joint savings account because she said it would make it easier for her to get approved. She said I had better credit than I did at the time, and she just needed someone to co-sign. I was dumb. I said yes. Never thought about it again. Never even closed it. I pulled out my phone, opened the banking app one hadn't touched in years, and logged in using the recovery email I still had tied to it. There it was. Account ending in 4527. Still active. $42,861.15. And my name was still on it. I called the bank. The rep verified my info, pulled up the account. Yes, Mr. M, you are a primary account holder. You have full access. I want to remove the other party, I said. She paused. That will require both parties to be present. Then I want to close the account and transfer the funds to my account. Are you sure? Very. It took about 10 minutes. 10 minutes to do what I should have done 9 years ago. I transferred the money into my checking account and closed the joint savings. All legally.
No tricks. No fraud.
Just a cold, clean break. She had no idea yet. And that was only the first part of what I planned.
I didn't sleep that night.
Even though I should have felt relief, all I felt was anger. The kind that sits in your chest like a heavy rock. I just lay in bed staring at the ceiling, thinking about every time she lied to me, every time Jenna covered for her, every family member who told me to let it go like I hadn't been robbed by my own blood. The next morning, I drove back to Sacramento. Not to the hospital.
Not yet.
I went to the county clerk's office. I requested copies of any property titles, trust documents, or records under my mother's name. I didn't know what I was looking for exactly, but I knew how she operated. She always hid things. She was always one step ahead of the people she was scamming. Turns out, she had a small house, nothing fancy, an old place near Rancho Cordova still under her name. And get this, she had recently added Jenna as a joint owner. Just 3 months ago. No will. No estate plan. Just one quick signature tying the whole house to my sister. Which made it clear. She knew she was dying. She knew it for months, and she spent those months cutting me out of everything. Quietly. On paper, legally.
No conversations. No explanations.
Just erasing me like I never existed. I wasn't even angry anymore. I was done. But I wasn't walking away empty-handed either. That joint savings account was the first move. I'd thought that would be the end of it, but after seeing the house paperwork, I knew I had to take it one step further. I called an attorney that afternoon. A guy I knew through work, divorce, and probate. I asked him a few questions about power of attorney, account access, and if my mother had ever filed to remove my name from anything. She hadn't, which meant if I played it smart, I could still reach into a few corners she hadn't cleaned up yet. Turns out she had one more account, an old investment account with Vanguard that had my name tied as a backup contact and legacy access holder. She probably didn't even remember it existed. She'd opened it back when she thought she could play the stock market. Only about $15,000 in it. I filed the paperwork, submitted ID, and requested a full liquidation. That money came through 4 days later. I was quiet about it. Didn't post anything. Didn't call anyone. I was in and out of Sacramento like a ghost. A week after the hospital visit, I got a text from Jenna. Jenna, what the hell did you do? I didn't reply. 15 minutes later, she called. I let it go to voicemail. Then she texted again. Jenna, Mom's screaming at the nurses. Says the savings account is empty. She doesn't understand how it's gone. Then, did you take it? Still, I didn't respond. She called again. This time I picked up. Are you happy? She snapped. You robbed a dying woman. Your own mother. No, I said calmly. She robbed me. I just took back what was mine. She's crying. She says she doesn't know how she's going to pay for hospice care. She had 9 years to fix this, Jenna. You're disgusting. No, I said again. I just finally stopped being stupid. I hung up. The next day, I got a letter. Certified mail. From my mom. I opened it. Inside was a single sheet of paper. No, dear Daniel. No apology. Just this. You always thought you were better than us. But you're not. You're spiteful. You'll die alone. No signature.
No love, Mom. Just that.
I folded it and threw it in the trash. But something inside me still burned. Because the story wasn't over. About 2 weeks later, I got a call from someone I hadn't heard from since high school, my cousin Mike. We weren't close, but we used to ride bikes together in the summers when we were kids. He was always one of the only people in the family who saw through my mom's fake sweetness. He didn't bother with small talk. "You got a minute?" he asked. "Sure," I said, already bracing myself. "I just got off the phone with Aunt Arlene," he said. She was asking if I could lend her some money to cover legal fees. I blinked. "Legal fees?"
Yeah, he said.
Said she was thinking of filing something against you. Called it a recovery action. I laughed. For the first time in weeks, I actually laughed. "She wants to sue me?" "She didn't say it straight," he replied.
But she hinted at it.
Said she might have grounds since the money came out of a joint account and you didn't get her permission. I told him everything. The loans, the forged documents, the bank account with my name on it, even the life insurance form with Jenna's name, and nothing else. Mike was quiet for a long time. Then he sighed. "She's been doing this crap for years. She did something shady to my dad back in the day. Took out a credit card in his name, maxed it out, then acted like it was some mistake." "I remember," I said. He tried to warn me. "Yeah," Mike said. "She made him out to be the crazy one." Then he told me something that stopped me cold.
"She's not broke, Dan. She's got cash."
"She just doesn't want to use it." "What are you talking about?" "She's been getting money from some disability settlement for years. Plus whatever she's scammed from other people. She plays broke real well, but I've seen her statements. When she was staying with my mom last year, she left some paperwork out. She's been moving cash into Jenna's account, slowly. Probably for months. Maybe longer." I sat there, stunned.
I thought I'd seen the whole game.
But I missed the part where she'd already started burying the rest of the money under Jenna's name. So even with her death creeping up, even knowing she wouldn't live to see another Christmas, she was still stealing. Still lying. And Jenna was helping her. Now it wasn't just about money. It was about the principle. The insult. The way she looked me in the eye and called me the selfish one while burying my future and praising my sister. And that's when the next idea came to me. If she was moving funds to Jenna to hide assets, there might be evidence. If I could get a paper trail showing she was shifting money to avoid debt or legal exposure, I might be able to freeze some of it. So I called the same lawyer I'd used before and explained what was going on. He said it sounded like fraudulent conveyance. Moving assets to avoid claims. If we could prove it, we could hit Jenna with a court order to freeze transfers or maybe even get a judgment against the estate. But to do that, I needed access to her records. Bank statements. Transfer logs. Email receipts. And I had one last tool in my back pocket. That old Gmail account we once shared when she first set up online banking. She never changed the recovery info. So I tried the password I remembered from years ago.
It worked.
It actually worked. There it was. Dozens of emails from her bank. Transfer confirmations. Emails to Jenna with subject lines like, "Put this in your account before the 15th and don't mention this to Daniel." I screen captured every single one. Sent them all to my attorney. 2 days later, he filed a petition with the county court to launch a formal inquiry into fraudulent transfers from a person under medical duress, claiming undue influence by Jenna. It wasn't just about money now. It was about exposure. Jenna would have to sit down, under oath, and explain why she helped my dying mother secretly move money to avoid me. Mom was still alive, but barely. She wouldn't be able to testify. But Jenna? She was in the hot seat now. And she had no idea what was coming. The court hearing was set for a Thursday morning in late March. I showed up in a plain black suit, no tie. Jenna was already there when I arrived, sitting with a stiff-backed attorney who looked like he charged by the minute.
She didn't look at me. Good.
The courtroom was small, quiet. Just a probate judge, 2 attorneys, and us. My lawyer laid out the case clearly. He showed the emails I found, the bank transfer logs, and the statements proving my mother moved more than $60,000 to Jenna's personal account over the past year, right after the doctors diagnosed her heart failure. Then came the real kicker. One of the emails was dated the day after I visited the hospital. Subject line: "Make sure it's all out before he tries anything." My lawyer read that one out loud. The judge turned to Jenna. Her lawyer stood and gave some speech about family loyalty, how gifted money is not illegal, and how emotions don't equal fraud. But the judge wasn't impressed. "I see plenty of family drama in here," he said. "This isn't drama. This looks calculated." He ordered a freeze on Jenna's account pending a full review. Then he looked at me and said, "If this is about revenge, you might have just won." But I didn't feel like I won. Not yet. That came later. Because 2 weeks after that hearing, my mother died. No warning. No final call. Just a hospital note and a message from the funeral home that Jenna had arranged a small private service. I wasn't invited. I didn't go. I didn't cry. But I did make one last call to the county probate office. Because she didn't leave a will, the estate now had to go through the court. And legally, I was entitled to 50% of whatever she left behind, including that house in Rancho Cordova. The same house she tried to sneak to Jenna with a quick joint title change. I filed a formal contest. Jenna fought it. Hard. But it didn't matter. That joint title? Turns out Mom never finished the final recording. It wasn't legally binding. I got the house. I didn't keep it. I sold it to a developer 6 weeks later. Cleared $190,000 after taxes. I kept every cent. Jenna didn't get a dime. I thought that was the end of it. But then one afternoon, I found a box on my porch. No return address. Inside was a thick folder, some old jewelry, and a short handwritten letter. It was from my aunt, Mom's sister. She'd gone through Mom's stuff and found this. The letter read, "I don't know if this means anything now, but I thought you should see it. Your mother wrote this years ago. She never sent it. Maybe she didn't know how." I opened the folder. Inside was a letter, dated 8 years ago, just a few months after I found out about the loans. It was messy, angry, unfinished. But I read every word. I didn't know what else to do. I was scared. "You were always the smart one, Daniel. I knew you'd recover. I just needed help, and I didn't know how to ask without losing your respect. I never meant to hurt you. I just couldn't face how bad I'd messed up." I sat down on the steps. For the first time since this whole thing started, I cried. Not for her. For the kid I used to be, the one who wanted a mother who protected him, not one he had to protect himself from. We were both broken in different ways. And we both made our choices. Mine ended with a house sold, money in the bank, and my name finally cleared. Hers ended with silence. And a son who walked away for good this time.